virtual convention is showing up. And that was chosen in honor of the late Lisa Scott, who taught many of us how to show up. When that theme was chosen, I had no idea we'd be where we are right now in many, many ways. And I think it's important for us to keep in mind that these are really tough times for a lot of people, and people being affected differently by the tough times we're going through. So I'm thinking if we could maybe spend 3 days thinking about how we show up for ourselves, how we show up for our loved ones, how we show up for the stuttering community, how we show up for the world. I think maybe we can start making some changes. That'd be my hope. So we have a few volunteers who are going to share what showing up means to them. If you would like to share your thoughts, unfortunately, we're not going to have time for everyone to speak, but if you can type your thoughts into the chat box, if we have time, we will read it. If not, we will post it somewhere. So I can't see Mike Turner, but Mike Turner will be starting us off. Do I go looking for him? Mike Turner?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Great.
Hi, everybody. Wow.
Yeah.
Should I just get started?
Yeah. Jump right in.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, wow. Welcome to friends, everybody. This is such an honor to be here with all of you. This is like, it's so different than getting to be in a big room with everyone and like hearing all of the stuttering that happens, which I love and I miss so much. But yeah, just thank you for letting me say something. Like, I feel like showing up is something that I'm still learning how to do, much more so now. Maybe realizing that I haven't shown up for others how I should, and learning what that means. Just in the world, the world is such a, it seems like every day we wake up and we don't know what we're going to read or find out. And a lot of people are hurting out there. And I think stuttering gives us this special window into having empathy for other people and to understand when people are being made to feel less than others. And I think it's something that we can really embrace and show up in our speech, to stutter openly. It's like, since becoming a father, especially, I've really wanted to just stutter openly, to just let people hear it, just in case people want to talk about it, even if they're like just hearing someone stutter, and it just kind of normalizes it a little bit, and they realize that people who stutter are out there, and we're talking, and we are going to stand up for people who also have maybe felt like their voice hasn't been heard. I think it's just really awesome to see everybody here. There's like 250 people on this thing, and we're all here like learning and listening, and I just love being here. I'm not sure how long I should.
That's great. I mean, you're welcome to keep.
Well, like actually this last week, something crazy happened where I was at Costco, which I haven't been in a long time. And I had my mask on, and I ended up seeing a friend of mine from the small town where I live, also masked. And we were just talking about kids and stuff, just what's happening. And he ended up sending me a message on Instagram that evening saying like, hey, I've never told anyone this. I've never talked about this with anyone, but I stutter. And I've hung out with this guy a bunch of times, and I had no idea. He said he dropped out of college because he was petrified of taking a public speaking class. He's a photographer, but he's like been afraid of starting his own business because he can't make cold calls. And he's just like, it affects every part of my life. Like every interaction I have, I'm trying to not stutter. It like affects what I can do, who I talk to, like how open I am with people. I've never even talked with my wife about it. And he sent me this message a couple nights ago. I was just like reading this, just, oh my God, let's talk, you know? And just like, he had seen me stuttering, and you just never know what showing up is going to do for someone else. You know, if you just show up as you are with stuttering, you just never know who's listening and like who needs to hear your voice, because there are so many people out there that need to hear what you have to say. So keep talking and be on the side of good.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah.
Michael. Yeah. Roisin, would you want to share a bit?
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Mike. It's always great to hear your thoughts and also follow your art making in the world. I have something I want to read that I wrote a long time ago, actually. And I wrote it about a stuttering support group. I'm just going to pull it up real quick. And I apologize if you've heard this, because I've read it at a stuttering conference once before years ago. Okay. I am searching for your eyes. They drift down and to your left, fluttering as your body indulges and the battle turns inward. I will stay with you. You come back, returning when your voice does. Good. You shrug, and your smile is small. We both knew that you have more that you will not say. Has someone squinted their eyes and pulled their head back? Have they looked away when you spoke, saying, uh-huh? Have they touched you on the arm and said, sweetie, you don't have to be afraid, just slow down? I wish I had a cure for that. Has someone told you how they fixed it? How all you need to do is breathe deeper, or read poetry, or wake up to tomorrow for getting that you stutter. I wish I had a cure for that. Have they tried to save you from yourself? The self that survived the silence after reading in class? The self that brought you here today? Please know that your self is what will save you. I am not concerned about your embarrassment, your eye twitching, or your breathlessness. They are cards from this hand we were dealt, so we will play them. Just don't fold. Don't fall silent. Don't tiptoe around the edges and sit looking through windows at a world that you belong in. Refuse to agree with the voice in your head that whimpers. You can't do that. I hope you come back next month and the one after that. Soon you will be sitting in my chair, searching for a young woman's eyes as her battle rages. Her eyes will settle on you later in the meeting, and she'll think to herself, if he can do it, so can I. Thank you. Showing up, when Lee told me that that was the theme for the conference, it felt very apt. This year for me personally has been extremely humbling. It was a year where I expected to be getting married. I expected to be moving into a little bit of a cushier job. I expected to be coasting through life. But instead, we were exposed as a country and as a world. And my work in a New York City ICU turned into a literal battlefield where the needs were beyond what we could meet. They ramped up too fast for us to keep up. Our training was not enough. And we feared for our own lives every day going into work. And the best I could do was to show up and to be with my fear and my grief and my rage, and be there for the human beings that were around me, in the hospital bed, in the nurse's station, over the phones with families who I was calling into the hospital room so they could say goodbye. And again, the best I could do was show up. And it reminded me of when I was really in my hardest point with stuttering, when I was maybe 19 or 20, and my back was against the wall. And the best thing I could do, and the best thing I've ever done probably, is to show up at a stuttering support group. And I didn't know what was going to come of it. I didn't know, it didn't feel good. And the next year after that didn't feel good. It felt like growing pains. And I'm trying to also carry that showing up into this next crisis in our country of racism and violence, and let myself be exposed and let ourselves be exposed, because we can only heal if we show up and we listen to others and we believe the people that are grieving and that are suffering. Because the people closest to the fire, I feel, especially after what I learned in COVID, are the canaries in the coal mine. And I learned a lot of that here in the stuttering community. And I'm so happy to be here this year. And even though it's going to be our first and hopefully the last time on Zoom, I can feel the love on this Zoom call. I know we've all been on a lot of Zoom calls, and this one feels different. So I'm really happy and looking forward to all of us showing up here, and just making it what we can.
Thank you, Rasheen. Thank you, Rasheen. Mary, do you want to step in?
Yeah, those are two hard things to follow. I've neither been in Costco or ER, so I haven't really felt like I've like shown up for anyone or anything lately. And like I think showing up is a really important theme, but it's also interesting and like during a time when we're not allowed or like supposed to go anywhere. So like I've been trying to think of what showing up means when like we don't exactly have a lot of choices in where we go. And I think for me it's stuttering can sometimes feel similar because it's an environment like that's defined by the fact that like we don't always have choices about how we sound or or the way we talk. And in some ways stuttering is something that like we have to show up for because like it's something that happens forever and all the time. But I think it's also been for me the hardest thing to show up for. This is my, I think this is my sixth convention, and like I think on my first convention I thought like you get to the point where like you figure out the right answer and like you get there and you stay there and it's easier. And like studying is great, but what I think is actually probably more true about acceptance is it's not like a destination, it's the choice to continuously showing up. And like showing up in that context isn't just an acceptance that studying is something that we live with, but it's accepting the responsibility that because studying is something we'll live with, it's also something that we get to choose how we want to live with. So I think showing up for stuttering and for each other as a community of people who stutters requires us all to show up for the emotions we feel about stuttering, and that means like both acknowledging that like fear and triumphs are both good and legitimate emotions that we have. And I think showing up in a community is super valuable because as easy as it is to think terribly self-deprecating things about the only way that the way that you might stutter, it's so hard to listen to people in this community talk and not be totally impressed by what they have to say. Like can we acknowledge the past 10 minutes like that was wild. And I think that showing up in a community means and like you know what everyone on this Zoom call deserves, and then showing up for yourself means like treating yourself with the same compassion and grace that you wish for everyone else, and letting all those moments of fear and upsetment be meaningful for what they are and not for what you think they should be, and where you think emotionally you should be.
Thank you, Mary. All right, we've got some other people who are going to share 1 or 2 lines. Many of the people who will be talking, this is their first time. So this is not Evan, but Evan, do you want to share a few lines about what showing up means to you?
Hello? Good? All right, perfect. I know what you mean when you said it was a little nerve-wracking. It feels even more nerve-wracking than if I was in front of a whole auditorium full of people. I'm glad to be here with all of you. So showing up to me, showing up for others has a lot to do with empathy. When you have a relationship with someone, you support them and they support you. And if you're hearing my voice right now, the Friends community is here to show up for you. Showing up for yourself is a bit more tricky. And for me, it takes a lot of courage to, advocate for yourself, stutter openly, and be exactly who you are. And I believe Friends gave me the tools necessary to show up for myself in more ways than I can explain. I think that's the beauty of Friends, the preaching of the acceptance rather than the elimination of stuttering. And I would not be the person I am today without Friends showing up for me. Thanks.
Thanks, Evan. All right, next, Louise. This is Louise's first time sharing at Friends, so you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. So, showing up to me just means to be there for yourself, even in hard times, like when you feel like you can't say something when you have to, just having the courage and discipline to say it is what I think showing up means.
Excellent, thank you. Welcome to Friends. Next we have Kira, but I don't see her on this screen. So Kira, when you're ready.
Unmute. Okay, you ready? Say hi. Of course, the phone rings. Okay, you ready, Kira? Go ahead.
Yes.
Okay.
Showing up to me means being there for your friends. It also means showing up to events like graduating or this conference.
Excellent, thank you. Thank you, Kira. And I believe that was Kira's first time talking to a big crowd at Friends. Congratulations. Next, David.
Hey guys. Showing up to me means doing things that it would be a lot easier to not do, but doing them anyway because at the end of the day, you'll be happy you did them. And I think showing up for yourself in this way is also showing up for others because you're setting a model.
Excellent. Thank you. Josette.
Hi. Um, I would say that in terms of the stuttering community, um, um, and especially in terms of of friends specifically, I would say that that showing up for your other friends who stutter means being open and honest and and vulnerable about the challenges that you may be facing right now, and to maybe to share a story about the time when everything wasn't going super well, and because even though all of those stories are awesome, I think I've learned the most from those interactions I've had with with people who can explain the times when they were struggling, especially when it's from someone who you, or at least who I thought had it all together. That's what I would say.
Thank you. Okay, Tyler, you're next.
Okay. Um. Is so what that means to me is and not being afraid for and I try not to be afraid, but it's been hard lately. But with this whole virus, it's kind of not an interacting thing with people. Oh, but so that's what showing up remains to me.
Thank you so much. I believe this was Tyler's first time talking to all of Friends, right?
Yes.
Congratulations. Okay, Gracie, who is not your first time.
No, hi. Showing up means a lot. A lot of things. It could mean courage, or being there or your friends. And I feel like the one thing it means most is part of simple, and it's just to exist, and that that sounds had or like a bit like okay, but like so what, like it's not that tough to just sort of go out in the world and be, you know. But in the past few months I feel like it's been tough, and I think it's not just us, but it's been tough or the whole world, which is had, but also comforting in a sense, because it feels like for the first time, like it's not just us who are on pause, you know, like he speak and it's tough, like it takes us a long time to sort of get our path and like finish that journey. And it's like now it's not just us who, you know, wait, which is weird. And I feel like showing up is just part of like hiding that wave, and you just sort of sit and exist, and that's kind of it.
I love that, riding the wave. Excellent. All right, we have one more newcomer. Louise, is your grandma there? I see her green hat. But you got to slide over, Grandma. This is Sharon. We got to be able to see your face. Louise, fix that for us so we can see her whole head.
Can you see me?
We see you, lady.
Hey.
Good to see you.
You too. Well, I'm supposed to be talking about the family. That's what everybody is family to me now. Um, we've been involved a little over a year. Luis, my grandson, stutters, and it's been so amazing. Everybody is so wonderful, and I try not to miss anything that's going on. And I'm really proud of him because he's a lot better speaking. I mean, he has his times. And I had sent Lee an email because he was rapping. So I was thinking, oh, he's rapping. So, I mean, he must not going to be stuttering too much, you know. But she told me don't get my panties in an uproar. So, because he was rapping, but it's just great being involved with with voices and friends, and it should be like family, a family name, because that's just how I feel. Everybody involved, everybody helps everybody, and the speaking, hearing, and I see the children. I was just stuck with Luis, and it wasn't other children I was seeing stutter, but I have an uncle that did it all my life, and he still does it. But I wouldn't bring him back. He don't need to get involved with this because he would embarrass us. So we just talked to him about it. But Luis is doing great for a little over a year. I'm just proud, and I just love everybody and the little kids that see come out. Everybody is so friendly, and I'm just happy. It's a wonderful thing. I just wish it had been we had have known earlier. But he's speaking, and that's great because he would take his brother to the store with him, to do the talking. But now he'll just what you want, and he go, or I'll wake up and he done went to Jewel's and bought groceries. So being involved with friends and voices, and his therapist Natalie and Amy, they great with him. I had told Amy he loved basketball, so can't you do something about basketball? And she did, and he's doing great. She says in a group he's, might not stutter more. He may stutter more in a one-on-one thing, and I've noticed that, but it's great being involved with this, and everybody is family to me. And that's the way everybody treat us. So it's a great thing. And I'm an advocate now, getting out there, listening to people talking to see if anybody's stuttering or have a speech defect so I can get them involved. But it's great, and I love it. And we'll be there every time. We was prepared, Lido, for Baltimore, but we got stopped. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's
We are
it.
delighted to have you.
I didn't hear you.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Anytime.
Excellent, excellent. Everybody, thank you so much. One more round of applause, especially for all our new speakers.